what would be your process to acquire business line of credit?
Say that last part. What kind of clients?
Uh, no, a business line of credit.
Oh, I got you. Do you already have a banking relationship with like a local credit union or something like that?
Yeah, I got all the basics, EIN, DUNS number. It's just what would be your first try to get trade lines or something like that.
Yeah, like the first thing you want to do is really just go down and sit down with a banker. And honestly, like especially your business grows, bankers become more important. Like probably for my first 6 or 7 years in business, I didn't really think about who was doing my banking in terms of the person at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
But ideally, you get with someone who's been at that bank for quite some time. They don't plan on going anywhere, and you can build up a relationship with them. And so, typically, at most banks, you're going to have to submit your financials every year to that person. And so, in terms of the first step, it's really like setting up the appointment at the bank and just being like, hey, I want to create a line of credit. My goal is to be able to expand my business over the course of the next several years. And every year when I come in and I submit my financials, I'm going to ask for an increase in my line of credit and just being upfront and honest with them what you're doing. And just keep in mind, they want to know why you're using it. They don't just want to be like no use. Like what you want to typically say is like working capital. It's like, hey, I want to have this as sort of my security blanket. I want to have this in case there's an opportunity for expansion or acquisition, and just start building the relationship with that banker because it'll become very valuable down the road when you want to expand your line of credit. And I always say to everyone, like, the 1% origination fee that you might pay on that line of credit, if you have $100,000 line of credit, they might make you pay $1,000. It's the cheapest form of insurance for your business because if something crazy happens, even if like there is a damage and you have to pay the deductible on the insurance claim, even that might hurt you if you're just getting started. So being able to have a line of credit is super valuable. That being said, lines of credit are unsecured lines of credit, which typically means you don't have any collateral against them. Now, if you collateralize a line of credit, things like your trucks, your equipment, et cetera, means it's going to reduce the amount of risk associated with your line of credit. And therefore, the bank is going to give you better terms, lower interest rate, et cetera. They're probably going to even increase your line of credit a little higher because the risk is less. Just keep in mind, if something goes wrong, now they're going to come after your equipment. So I don't mind collateralizing my lines of credit because if someone has to come after my equipment, there's bigger problems that I'm dealing with, and it typically allows me to give a little bit larger lines of credit. I've only pulled my lines of credit once, my business lines of credit, and that was during COVID when it first started. And it shut down everything, and we didn't know what was going to happen. And especially in the state I live in, Washington, where everyone was really freaking out. That was the one time I pulled all of my lines of credit and just created like a war chest of cash just in case I didn't know what was going to happen. And that is definitely that security blanket that you want to have in the case of having a lot of unsurety of where the market's going or what's happening in the political economic climate. So highly recommend everyone get a line of credit because when you need one most, they're not being handed out. When you don't need them, when you don't need a line of credit is when you should go get one because banks love to lend to people that don't need the money. I know it sounds crazy, but that's the truth. And so if I would have been trying to get a line of credit during March of 2020, there would have been no bueno. No one would have wanted to give me a line of credit. It was too risky. No one knew what was happening, especially to a gym, like an owner of a gym that was about to get closed for an indefinite amount of time. And so when you need it most, they will not be able to open up the line of credit. Open it when you do not think you need it because that's when they're willing to offer it.